Okay, now it's time to see how good your observations were in part 1, because now I have removed the names of the chemicals, and your job is to identify all 8 of these and type your identifications into the text box on the page for this lab on Canvas. So you will type in A equals and give the chemical name, which of course are on the handouts from part 1 of this. I'll give you a quick chance to look at each of these chemicals as a pre-observation, and then we'll repeat the experiment, combining them in twos, just as we did in part 1, so you can look at the chemical reactions. And I'll remind you, sometimes it's just as important to see what doesn't happen as it is to observe what happens. All right, just reviewing my setup here real quick. I started with A on the top row, so A, B, A, C, A, D. B here, all the way across, C, D, E, F, and G. Similar to last time, and no, just in case you were wondering, these are not in the same exact order as last time. So I'm going to put 2 drops of A all the way across. All right. Then we have A, B, so I'll add my 2 drops to this puddle here. And then we'll do B all the way across. All right, C. So we've got AC, BC, good, D, AD, BD, CD, and of course my D's all the way across. All right, now for E. Stray little drop from E, disregard that. I messed up and put E in the B, C. Just goes to show you that even chemistry teachers can mess up when they're not paying close attention. A good lesson, and I'm going to leave it in the video. Also, I don't want to take the time to set all this up again. So, AF, BF, CF, DF, EF, and then our F droplets here. Almost done. And then I'll give you a little zoomed in look at everything for your final observations. G, all the way across its line. And finally H. Now, as you've probably already figured out, 4 of these chemicals should be pretty easy for you to determine, simply because they are already colored when we start out. The rest of them you need to puzzle out. Of course, the ones that are problematic are the clear colorless solutions. So you need to figure those out. And I will tell you that there are two of them that are hard to tell apart. So just do the best that you can. And give you a little zoom in on this. Go. Top row all the way across there and the second row. It's interesting that BD spreads out. That's a neat little property. Notice that a lot of these stay bubbled up. Some of them do not stay bubbled up. Part of that, in some cases, is simply the uneven geography of the plastic wrap here. But in some cases, it's an actual property and a neat observation to make. All right, now it's time to clean up, and it's time for you to turn in your identifications of each of these 8 chemicals typed into the text box on the Canvas page for this lab. One more thing, now that we've done parts 1 and 2, it's time for me to wash my hands. Just want to remind you, you always wash your hands when you're leaving the lab. And washing your hands is not the same thing as sanitizing your hands. Washing is greater than sanitizing. Washing your hands takes care of germs and also other chemicals that might be on your hands. Sanitizing might kill the germs, but doesn't remove other things that might be there. Wash your hands, and then when you can't wash your hands, you can sanitize, or when you've washed your hands and then moved somewhere else and touched other things. Thanks for this lab. I look forward to seeing your responses, and I'll see you in synchronous class on Zoom.